During this video, we're going to discuss model building using a balsa build and a residential home model as the example. I hope you enjoy it. This PowerPoint will outline the basics of putting together your home model. The materials that you'll need are all located in a common location. You'll obviously need balsa wood, glue and pins, tape, scissors, foam core boards, several of them cut to size, and then odds and ends from our scrap heap. Keep in mind that we will be using the design process for any of these builds. This residential home model is just an example. For planning, make sure that you're writing things down, drawing things out, sketching, doing any mock-ups that you feel you need to do to prepare for your work. We'll be composing by taking the pieces of balsa wood, cutting them to size, and building the parts of our house to assemble. Evaluation should be ongoing. And then revision always comes in when you finish one part of the project. Think about a couple of things. If I had to do this again, how could I do it faster, easier, therefore more efficiently? I'll provide a balsa build punch list. This will be a handy list of things that you'll need to accomplish in order, starting with the bubble diagram, working through the floor plan, making all of the sides of the house, the trusses, putting it all together, and then finally removing your build from its substrate. Start this project with a simple bubble diagram. A bubble diagram is a great way to brainstorm and doesn't have to be too technical. Just start to outline the general size of different rooms that you want in your build. You can overlap the bubbles for areas that are common. Think about the pathway through which you'll walk through your build. But make sure you create several of these just so you and your partner or partners can figure out exactly what it is you want to build. Once you have your bubble diagram worked out, it's time to create a floor plan. A floor plan is a bird's eye view of all the different rooms, and we're not worried about the scale of the rooms, just get them general. Sketch your floor plan out in pencil because you probably will make some mistakes and need to go in and adjust. Think about how you maneuver through your home as if you're actually walking through it. When you're done designing the floor plan, you've got everything drawn out, make sure you cover it with plastic. I've provided rolls of Mylar to do that. That will keep the balsa build from sticking to your floor plan. The next step is to take mat board strips and tape those down to the Mylar. This will give you a nice base to build your model on. Collect several pieces of foam core with Mylar on top of it, and you can use my wall template if you want, or you can design your own. Just make sure you have a top plate, a bottom plate, and then studs lined up equidistant. We're not worried about scale with this build. Just make it look somewhat realistic and make sure you stay true to the different parts of a build. Include windows. I would sketch those beforehand on a couple of templates. They should be all the same height. If you want them the same height, think about the size of the window, obviously, that you want to create. Make sure you have a sill plate and a header for those as well. And you'll do the exact same thing for your doorways. Make sure you have a piece of balsa that is identified as a header in there, and make it at least 3 studs wide so it looks somewhat realistic. As I mentioned, you'll be using multiple wall templates. Make sure again you cover those with Mylar, and we're going to cut down our lumber that we need to size using our templates. And then any wood that you cut and start to put together, make sure that you add glue to any place where wood is touching wood. To fasten the wood down to the foam core, use T-pins and just crisscross those in a couple of spots, and those will hold them in place. Once you have a few walls built, it's pretty satisfying to start putting up some walls to see what the build's going to start looking like. Carefully remove those from the foam core templates. Take a little piece of tape and tape the walls together in the corner, and make sure any place that wood touches wood, you add some glue to. Once you're finished assembling your walls, it's time to start working on trusses. A roof truss is composed of a top cord on either side, a bottom cord, and then webbing on the inside. For our builds, make sure that you sketch out a bottom cord that's as wide as you want the build to be. It must span across your house in different areas. You can either keep the bottom cord the same length to have overhang, or you can adjust that cord depending on what you want your roof to look like. Keep in mind the pitch of your house. The higher the peak is, the more vast the pitch is. So you may want to adjust that depending on what you want your trusses and your roof to look like. After you've sketched out your bottom cord, the top cords, the webbing, make several copies of your diagram and then tape those down to foam cord. Make sure that you cover the foam core with Mylar before you start working, and then you'll repeat the process that you use for the walls. Cut the bottom cords the same length, top cords the same length, and any webbing should be the same length as well. Then you can start assembling those the same way you did your walls. Make sure any place wood is touching wood, you add a little bit of wood glue. And I would take things one step further, as denoted in this diagram. Cut a few pieces of mat board, tiny pieces, and glue those to your build as well. They'll just reinforce the strength of the trusses. Once you have the desired amount of trusses constructed, it's time to put a piece of balsa strip along the top of your trusses and get those raised vertically. You may need a partner to help you do this. When you're finished with your build, carefully remove your model from the plastic and mat board, and you can make any additions or adjustments as needed.